Welcome back to the Silver Line and Atlanta Falcons podcast. I'm your host, Sterlington, and this is your co-host, Cam. And we back at it again, talking about the Falcons week 9 matchup against against the vaunted New England Patriots. Um, oh y'all, a couple of apologies. So one, for the people who are deftly await our rapid reaction. We had a silent agreement that we wasn't going to even talk about that. And we didn't even discuss not doing an episode and doing one later. We just both kind of knew what it was, felt the vibes. And let's be real, the numbers never justify it. It was like, oh man, I can't even believe as many people tune in because I know the last thing I want to do when the Falcons embarrass me like that is talk about it and listen to other people talk about it. Um, and I also owe y'all another apology because I won't speak for Cam, but me personally, I'm about as prepared as the Falcons were last Sunday. So, there's that. But before we get into the game, how you doing, Cam? Man, what's up with you?
I'm doing pretty good. I got a couple days past me from this past Sunday, so out of sight, out of mind. I'm on the next week.
Hey, brother, I feel
hey,
you, man. When
but
PTO
aside from
kicked in, I
that,
took Monday off. I was like, yeah,
I feel you, bro. Every now and then you need a personal day. You
I
just
need
need one, man.
just need a
Hey,
little three ski.
the Monday after that game, ooh, I don't blame you.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
blame
know.
you,
I
man.
should have took that one off, but I mean this one because it's Halloween coming up. Maybe it'll get spooky on Sunday and the Falcons will actually do something scary. But I got my concerns that we're gonna get into. But yeah, I was just like, man, I'm about to go ahead and take Monday off. Let me go ahead and just enjoy a little 3 day before I get back on my grind. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to enjoying this weekend no matter what the Falcons do. But that's me. So, obviously, before we talk about the game going forward, we got to talk about the game that just went past a little bit. Falcons lost 34 to 10. What's your thoughts on the game, Cam?
Uh, back to back games where we have scored 10 points or less, so that's not a good look. Um, it's always a tough pill to swallow when you think you're a team or a franchise that's kind of over the hump, and then reality steps in and, hey, no, you're not, big dog. Humble yourself. And that's kind of what this past Sunday felt like. The Dolphins were 1-6. They were a team that's spiraling. And I'm gonna be honest, they're 2-6 now, but the way they play, you would think they were 6-2.
Yeah, they
Like
jumped the hell out of us.
they beat us on all three phases of the ball. Special teams was better than ours.
Yep.
Their defense played lights out. Every aspect of their offense was better than ours. We essentially got punched in the mouth. It was one of those games where, and I don't want to say it's becoming a consistent thing, but I'm thinking it's becoming a consistent thing where when it comes to Zach, he's got a game plan. And it's like what Mike Tyson said, everybody's got a game plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Yep.
We've been punched in the mouth a couple of times, and when we do, Zach ain't really got an answer for it.
He like, whoa,
And now, granted,
hands up.
you can put some of the blame on the players. The players didn't execute. The O line didn't block the greatest. I know Raheem, he made sure to throw them under the, not necessarily throw them under the bus, but kind of like, hey,
Hold them
somebody kind of got
accountable.
to. He held them accountable. And granted, everybody on that team needed to be held accountable because no one played well. So even Bijan, who was our best player, who was our MVP candidate, had a fumble.
Yeah,
So
Butterfingers, yeah.
on all phases of the ball, it was a piss poor performance by the Atlanta Falcons, and that's concerning considering we're about to go in to New England and play a team that is well coached
Hmm.
and is extremely physical. So I'm we're 3-4 and we have 10 games left. I'm a little worried, man. I'm a little worried considering out of those 7 games we've played, two of them we just got our backs blown out, like
Yeah.
just straight up. And then another couple, our offense just has. We've had two good games this year where our offense has looked good. if we're being honest. Two.
You know what's crazy about that? I'm glad you brought that up, the part about the offense, because I really thought about it. The last 10 quarters of Atlanta Falcons football have yielded 23 points. Like, did we have two good games or did we have one and a half good games? Because
I'm
we
glad
only
you said that
scored
because I
three
was thinking the
points.
same thing.
Yeah, we only scored 3 points. And like what's alarming for me is the offense is worse than last year. This offense, this version of this
Oh
offense
my
this year is
God.
worse than last year. And also, and some of that's to be expected in the sense that, as teams develop an understanding of your offense, then they know how to better defend it. The offense looked good for stretches of the early part of the season last year, and then they fell off a cliff. This year, we've only had one really good game, but then you start like really digging into it, and you realize the book is out on us, and that's where my concern comes from, right? If you look at the Bills' offensive game plan and defensive game plan in the second half um, of the game against us. Then you look at San Francisco's game plan. Then you look at Miami's game plan. You notice a trend, and it is that okay. If you overcommit to stopping the run, they can't consistently throw the ball. And if you go with the gap running scheme and downhill power running game, they can't stop the run. Now, I want to, I can only get on the defense so much because the defense, that was basically the agreement for them, right? The agreement was, um, we're gonna probably be a mediocre run defense this year, but if we put all of our points into being a good pass defense, if our offense does what we expect them to be doing, then we won't have to really be forced to deal with our inability to stop the run, right? Because our offense putting up points. Offense is not doing their job. The offense, like you literally banked your defensive strategy off of what you expected your offense to be doing. And now that your offense isn't doing that, you have a bad team. And you don't have a bad team in the most traditional sense, right? You look at the Titans, that's a bad team. That's the team, that team just can't get it together, right? But you look at the Falcons, and it's a team that you look at and you're like, okay, we got an easy way to beat this team. We know what we need to do to beat this team. Now, will we do it? Who knows? You know what I'm saying? Sometimes the defense gonna play better than others. But you look at this team, and plus everybody not gonna be able to do it. You know what I'm saying? But when you look at like when you want to talk about alarming shit, right? I'm like, wait, aren't the Dolphins the worst run defense in the league? Didn't didn't
The
the
worst.
49ers have the worst rush attack in the league? And you telling me against the two teams that was the bottom feeders on both sides of the ball, they could execute both of those things against us? That's
Mm-hmm.
about transparency. That's like yeah. Execution and all that shit. That's good and all. When you talk about wanting to properly displace blame, disperse blame, but no, that's way beyond that. That tells me you have a structural integrity problem in your team's build. That even teams that are bad at these things are able to accomplish that against you. You know what I'm saying? And ultimately, as long as Zach Robinson is lost, this team's gonna be lost. I know Penix has his times where he's not playing the best. Penix was just as much a part of the loss against the Panthers as Zach Robinson was. Um, and let's be real, Kirk was rusty last Sunday. He looked a part of it. But I mean, how the hell was Kirk supposed to get in rhythm when you basically, at least in the first half, had one drive that wasn't a 3-and-out, basically? I mean, I'm sure we had like one more, but I'm just like, bruh. And then we doing it the basic way too, the run pass. Not even necessarily
Oh
switching
my
guards.
God, dude. It's like Hey, and I'll bring up another point that it's something that I heard in the Locked On Falcons podcast. Shout out to Aaron Freeman. But he in that podcast they talked about they made a good point, dude. Raheem comes in and his first year in, he fired a DC and it's looking like his OC not looking good either. His second year in, looking like the OC. If the trend continues, he won't be a Falcon either. So now it's looking like the guy you brought in hitched his wagon to two bad hires.
Yeah.
So now it's looking like Raheem was a bad hire because he hitched his wagon to two first time play callers. Jimmy Lake had to go. And it's looking like Zach needs to go too. Now, granted, we have 10 games left, but our season rests on his shoulders and his ability to adapt. And I'm going to be honest, in the season and a half that he's had, or a little less than the season and a half, he has not shown that. It's what you said. Our offense has regressed in the sense that we have a pretty solid offensive line. Granted, Elijah Wilkinson is just a piece. We didn't really anticipate
Caleb McGarry going
Caleb
down.
McGarry going down, and thank goodness Storm Norton logged a full day of practice today. So it'd be nice to have him back. But man, our offensive line is solid. We have solid offensive weapons. The fact that we can't get it together to me is more indicative of coaching.
Right. You know, it's almost alarming that when you bring up the O line playing well, despite I'm like, so the best coach on the staff is a guy that wasn't even hired by Raheem. The best coach on the staff is the only one to survive a coaching change. Because our special teams fucking sucks too. The truth is, this team is this team is a team of bozos up top.
And
I
if we're
hate
being
to
honest,
admit it.
yeah.
Look, I wanted to believe, we had our doubts because, like, let's be real, you want to make sure you hedge your bet. So I want to tell everybody to believe in the Falcons, be excited, be happy, and whatever. But we had doubts about Zach Robinson because we just was like, I don't know, man. We're not seeing that intentionality and explosiveness in that, right? But then, you think about the fact that, all right, 17 games last year, 7 games this year, you 24 games into your career. And I feel like I don't even need all the fingers on both hands to count how many games I've been impressed by the play caller, you know what I'm saying, and calling plays. And and I don't want to get too crazy with it. I see a lot of people doing revisionist history where they start going back and looking at all the people we interviewed and then saying we went with Raheem. And I'm like, look, maybe Raheem ain't the guy, but none of those guys really wanted to be here. We didn't really have the chance for those. And honestly, somehow the guy who we did get the final rounds with Raheem probably would have been worse. It's nuts to think that we brought in Harbaugh, but Harbaugh already knew he wanted to go. He wanted to come in with a quarterback. He didn't want to do that. I already knew that was the thing, and that's why having that position unsettled is always a bad thing. That's why that QB purgatory is the worst place to be.
Mm-hmm.
Ben Johnson ain't want to fucking come here. It was like, no. You see, even when he left Detroit, he went somewhere where he was like, all right, y'all just put in the first round pick at quarterback, the number one overall. All right, I'll go there and see what I can do with that. Good coaching candidates want to go to places where they know they're being set up for success. And that was where we messed up. And we picked a guy who he's very well liked around the league. They like him and all, but I really thought that was gonna be the thing that made Raheem a good coach. I remember because if you were old enough to remember that first stint Raheem had with the Bucks, he got his ass kicked, but for the most part, like the team built around him was ass. He was also 32, so he was your age. He was younger than I currently am, and he was a head coach. And they went 10-6 that first year with guys that it wasn't his players, and he wanted them to do certain things. They didn't. They invested in I believe Josh Freeman at quarterback, who wasn't a good quarterback. And I felt like he got hosed in that situation. They put a bad team around him, and then when you get a bad product, you get the blame for it. But this second go, you would have think that, he learned from some things. And I saw him trying to secure the quarterback position, say, hey, let's get Kirk, let's get Penix. I don't want to deal with that shit again. And that's fair enough. But you would think with all that experience and all of that, another thing that would matter to him was to make sure that he had good coaches, right? You saw how he doubled down basically on quarterback. He didn't just hitch his wagon to one quarterback. He was like, nope, nope, I'm double dipping that quarterback. I'm taking no chances. And then you're gonna turn around and, like you said, hire two first time play callers for each side of the ball in your first year with a new team. And both of them are looking like major busts. And also, even furthermore, um, you're looking at personnel. We don't have the personnel to unfuck some of that, right? The run defense, like we fucking said this in the offseason, that was going to be a problem no matter what. We don't
Mm-hmm.
have the personnel for that. And then JD Bertrand out there, oh my God. Devon Diablo went on, bro, look, JD Bertrand is not ready to take the field.
Man, bless his heart, dog.
God bless his heart. He
He's a
trying.
rookie, and you know what? Hey, it's not like San Fran where like their rookies just come in and they play like all pro linebackers. Apparently, we just not built like that. Where our rookies will let me pump the brakes on that rookie talk. Considering like we have four other rookies who are playing pretty well, they're just kind of hurt right now. So let me pump the brakes on that. But JD Bertrand, he is showing why he was a seventh round pick.
I think
He's
it's,
a
what was he, seventh or was he fifth? I can't remember, but he was a late rounder.
he was a late rounder, but man,
Psst. Hey, Cam, you seeing this shit?
oh yeah, I think I am. What is that?
That's a person watching this podcast that hasn't subscribed. Subscribe. The button's down below.
The book isn't written on him, but that first page was not good. That first.
Oh, hey, look, man. I know I'm ready to turn that page, bro. I'm ready to turn the page, and see what's next. Cause I'm like, hey, man, am I about to put this book down before I even get started? Cause like JD Bertrand, and then he right in the middle of your defense, so you already have questionable personnel in the interior for run stopping, unless it's about penetration. But then also, your backup linebacker who's not your starter is not ready to be on the field. So now you got a gaping weakness on defense. And if you think New England not going to key in on what they just saw two teams do successfully against your team in back-to-back games, you got another thing coming. You got another thing coming. And then when you flip it back over on offense, I mean, look, we run the ball, but we don't run the ball gap. We don't just bully guys. We always still doing it with zone, and that's always the problem with zone. When people start knowing it's coming, they can stop it. And look, I don't want to just come on here and bash on the team all week, right? It's time to, say, all right, let's look forward, let's look and see what's going on in the future and what's going to go happen forward. But I think, I don't think it's much of a spoiler if I tell you, all right, who am I predicting to win this game? I'm like, yeah, New England. Like, bro, we have scored what, what, 22, 0, 10 on the road? And you think you about to go on the road against the best defense you've played, right?
They
At
do
least,
something? Oh my
and
god.
now you're gonna get your offense together on the road where you've been scoring even worse. Your offense has been even worse on the road than it has been at home. Even when you just scored 10, somehow your offense is still worse. You are averaging less than 11 points a game. You have not even scored 33 points on the road this year. And now you about to go against the best defense, the most physical team. And you know what? Turns out Drake May is getting the development he needs. Drake May looking pretty damn good. So now that's not even a team where you say, hey, they got a younger quarterback too. How about we just lock in on their run, really overcommit to the run and then just deal with the pass? No, no. And then your passing attack, you know what? Turns out your pass defense gets a lot shakier. when they decide, you know what, we're not gonna really throw down the field. Because that's not what Miami did. Miami didn't do a bunch of throwing down the field, at least for what I saw. Now, if I'm being 100% honest, I might as well tell the truth. Matter of fact, I wanted to do this at the start of the show. I wanted to give the good Atlanta Falcons a great big thank you for smoking that game early so I could enjoy the rest of my Sunday and just not be doing this shit. Right? I'm like, yeah, man, don't have me hanging on till the fourth quarter to bitch about this shit for an hour after like we did with Tampa. No. Smoke that game, a little after halftime, and I'm like, all right, cool. I can turn this shit off. You know what I'm saying? It's only 3 o'clock. I still got a good piece of day left. 2:30 or
Hmm.
something. I can still enjoy my day. But yeah, we not even scoring a full 11 points. A game on the road. We going to New England. We going against a team that they know that we are vulnerable on defense. We're vulnerable to the run. We're vulnerable to the short passing game. Particularly if you're ahead of the sticks. If we can get them behind the sticks, get them behind an account, then all of a sudden, that short passing game is not as effective because obviously, you're not getting first downs off of those short passes now. Um,
And we got a chance, man. New England doesn't run the ball well. Granted, the last couple weeks they've slowly started to get it together, but majority of their run game is based on Drake May getting
yeah,
scrambles. Drake May has like a few games,
you,
50,
you know when that
60,
means something to
70
me?
yards. And the team will have like 120, 150 rushing yards. Drake May's a good chunk of that.
Was San Francisco a good running team when we played them?
Nope.
Was Miami a great running team when we played them?
Nope.
I'll care about what New England is good at and bad at when we fucking stop it.
No, that's actually a very good point, man.
The way
Because
I'm
one thing,
feeling is, the way I'm feeling is they're gonna do what we're bad at until we stop it. Because that's the problem with watching these teams do that to us, to me, right? It's not just that, all right, they ran the ball all over you, but they were a good running team. Like, hell, we done ran the ball all over some fairly decent run defenses. And it's no coincidence that the games we did that were the games where our passing attack looked the best. There's no coincidence there, right? But when I'm seeing teams that's not even good at these things, excelling against your team in that way, I I don't buy it. I don't buy it. Now, look, I'll say this much: team fighting for his life is a dangerous team.
mm-hmm.
When we played Carolina, it was the first home game of the year. They was already 0-2, starting out 0-3. That basically closed the door on their season, fighting for their life. Miami, they 1-6. I mean, I don't think they I don't think they can make the playoffs. I think that's ludicrous that they could, but at the end of the day, they fighting for their life. And two more losses, three more losses, and they out of there. So you getting teams fighting for their life, and I would love to feel like the Atlanta Falcons still got some spine.
Me
And
too, bro. Me too. I want to believe they got some fight left in them, man.
because look, we're
Hell,
3-4 now. We don't gotta act like this team is 1-6.
oh, but I'm gonna keep it a bean. I'm gonna keep it a bean. If we don't make the playoffs this year, if we look bad, I don't think Raheem gonna get a third year.
Oh no. The third year was contingent on the team at least looking good if we missed the playoffs. Like if we missed the playoffs, but we were 9-8 and
And
the
my yep.
team, the offense came together. And
And
look, to be fair, that could still happen. It's
no,
still what,
I
10 games
agree.
left?
I agree. Like even if we don't make the playoffs, the only saving grace where Raheem can keep his job is if MPJ looks like the franchise guy, and you don't really want to change things up right away. That's
Does
the only
MPJ,
way.
let me ask real quick. Sorry to interrupt, but does MPJ need to look like the guy, or does Zach need to look like the guy?
I'd
I
say
mean,
it's
I
a
know
little
the
bit of
answer is
both.
both, but I mean, if you
Yeah.
have to pick, because I mean, MPJ, I mean, I give Terry credit for that, but I'm like, shit, I might be like, yo, get him still get him up out of here. Get him out of here and get a coach out here that's gonna work with my quarterback. You know what I'm saying? My thing, I'm just talking about from Raheem perspective. You know what I'm saying? If I'm making the decisions there, right? I'm a big wig for the Falcons. I'm making decisions on whether or not what I'm seeing is what determines whether or not Raheem's gonna be the coach or not. Am I gonna look at what Michael Penix Jr. is doing and say, all right, we keeping Raheem and we gonna run it back? Or am I saying, with him playing like this, if I got him a real offensive head coach and somebody who know what they're doing in there, this team might look even crazier. You know what I'm saying? Because and the reason I bring that up is because if Zach pull it together and look good, now it look like okay, Raheem know how to hire. We might have needed to let some time to give it some time to cook, but Raheem know how to hire.
Yeah.
So
I'd say the latter is more like, I'd say it's more of the latter. Like Zach has to prove it. Now that you've talked me through it, I kind of think Zach has to prove it, but he hasn't done it consistently. He just hasn't proven to me like, oh, okay, we got it. Though there are multiple games this year where our offense is just kaput, where we just get our offense gets punched in the mouth and we're just like stuck there frozen, like, what do we do next? Do we throw a punch now? Is it our turn to throw a punch? Or you keep hitting us? It's like we don't know what to do.
you know what else is straight bananas about Zach Robinson? Just having this boring play calling being the one to hold the team back. It's that he holding the team back in the passing game when he was a former quarterback. Like this ain't like Arthur Smith at least has the excuse of being a fucking tight end.
You
Or
would
offensive
think.
lineman. I think he was an offensive lineman and a tight ends coach. I'm like, Zach, you were a fucking quarterback.
You would think you would be like,
The one thing you're supposed to know how to do is develop your quarterback. You like, hey, I am a quarterback. I know all the ins and outs. You know what I'm saying? I know, how timing, footwork. What quarterbacks like, what quarterbacks don't like. You know what I'm saying? You supposed to be. That's like literally supposed to be the draw that you were a quarterback. Like how many? Oh man, I don't want to overreact. It's just this is a frustrating thing because this is one of those things that you feel certain types of ways about because um it was the lose-lose in terms of all right, either I thought that I had doubts about Zach, um but oh shit, I lost my my train of thought. I was saying that we had doubts about Zay, and you like, all right, if he's bad, I'm right about that, but I don't want to be right about that. But then that's just what's happening. I can't remember what I was saying about that, but I'm looking at it and I'm just not pleased. But if we look into this game, that's the beautiful part about the NFL, right? It's any given Sunday. So we going into this next game against on the road against a team that got us on the ropes. This would be a great time for Zach to go in his basement and find that playbook that he got that nobody else got a bunch of tape on and crack that one out. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the best offensive coordinators don't keep the game plan in from last week and then tweak it. They burn it and we starting over every week. We building a new game plan from scratch every week based on our opponent. Um, I mean, look, New England not impossible to beat, but boy, they have been looking mighty fine.
granted, some of the
And
teams they've beaten up recently are kind of bottom feeders. They beat the Saints, they suck. They beat the Titans, they suck. They've beaten up on bottom feeders.
yeah, but like,
We
no,
we are
no,
not a
that's the
bottom
problem
feeder
though. What are
team.
we? What are we?
I don't think we are a bottom feeder team, but right now, in my opinion, due to coaching, we can play like a bottom feeder team, or we can play like a team that can beat the team like the Bills. You don't know what you're gonna get. This is the most Jekyll and Hyde team I've ever seen, especially this year. Like this team
Bruh.
is very Jekyll and Hyde, man, and I don't know what we're gonna get.
I
Like,
want to say Jekyll and Hyde, but to me, I'm like, no, I hadn't seen a transformation in the last 10 quarters. I'm seeing consistency, and that's the problem.
you
Consistently bad. I'm seeing teams consistently do the same shit to beat the Falcons. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm
no, I feel you.
like,
I feel you.
like if at least, we like hell, I would have felt a million times better if we would have lost that last game 34-31. The L would have still been an L, but at least you lose in a different way. That's a Jekyll and Hyde thing. It's like, all right, you just got to marry your good defensive performances with your good offensive performances. But nah, man, we literally are doing everything on offense, and then we don't even just move the ball, right? Ball control, and then we don't even have ball control and then settle for field goals. We are quickly giving the ball back to the other team for them to do to us what we want to do to other teams. Like Miami had one of the lowest time of possessions, and they just kept the ball away from us. And then when we got the ball, we gave it right back. So before I keep harping on last week, we going into this, we already know what we got to do. In New England, like you said, that's a bad run team. We got to make sure that they stay a bad run team. We said the same thing about San Francisco. We can't be the get right game, and maybe that's why. Maybe we are overreacting. Maybe we just messed up and was the get right game 2 games in a row. You know what I'm saying? I think they said what Tua hadn't had a first quarter passing touchdown for 13 straight games. Boy, ain't nothing like a stat line like that to make you know that. Oh, well, he about to rectify that against Atlanta because that's the kind of stat line Atlanta lives for.
Oh
Like,
yeah, Patriots
boy,
can't run
go
the
ahead.
ball. Oh, best believe this week. Oh, Ramondre Stevenson might go for 150
Boy,
and
career
two
high
TDs
this
and two
week.
TDs, baby. If we keeping it a whole bean.
If we keeping it a whole bean, this gonna be the get right game for him. But I would love for us to be able to get right in this. Now, as far as do we know if Penix is playing this week?
We don't know for sure. So, like injury report wise, Darnell was a full practice. MPJ was limited. Drake was limited. Jalen Walker was limited. Hell, I hope he can play because if he can replace JD Bertrand, that would be great. I know it's not an exact position swap, but he has experience at linebacker in college, and
Yeah,
I
he
would
can at
take
least take some of them reps from him. Yeah.
I would take anything we could get. I would take
Um,
it.
and I'm glad you pointed that out because I have downplayed certain injuries. Um, so I didn't think this would be as big of an issue, but like missing Jalen Walker has actually been pretty fucking huge.
Oh, I've
Like the
not
run
having our rookies
defense
on the
to the
defensive side of the ball.
edge,
Not
bruh,
having our rookies on the defensive side of the ball has shown we need that young spark. Granted, we got
bruh,
some old vets on the team, but like I looked at that game and we were missing that young spark last week.
bruh. Jalen Walker is a good run defender.
We was
Like,
missing that young spark. We need Billy
and,
Bowman Jr. in the lineup. We
and
need Jalen Walker in the lineup. We need JPJ in the lineup. We need these young guys in the lineup.
bruh, it's not even just that, but like when I talk about being a good runner, like the thing I saw in Miami doing was like obviously they were doing a lot of interior runs, but they wanted to get to the edges a lot. And when
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Walker out there, you can get to the edge on the other side. You can't get to the edge on his side. But like when he is not in there, we are missing that element of our defense altogether. Then with JD Bertrand in there, bro, he don't give you the sideline to sideline speed Diablo give you, and he not physical. You know what I'm saying? He not bringing that downhill presence either. So like we are hurting in some key areas on that part. But yeah, and with Penix, being hurt too. Look, we might have to try into this next game, half cocked again. Like Drake London missing last week. That's big. We another thing we harped on before the season was, the receiver depth a little shaky, a little shaky. Um,
It's
and
gonna
so
be
we,
shaky come Sunday, man. Because hey, if Jesse Bates can't go, oh my god, bro,
oh
I'm
my
praying he
god,
can play. Because like we're a little banged up. Our injury report is long. A lot of limited participants, so people who I'm
mm-hmm.
assuming are gonna play. But hey, those same limiteds, some of them didn't play last week.
That's right. Some of them were
So
limited
like
last
we'll
week.
see,
They did
man.
not play.
We gonna see. Like I'm optimistic, but like it's kind of at the point where like I've made my peace with where we are,
Yeah.
and until I've seen otherwise, then we are who we are.
All right. Well, oh, lost my little light. There we go. Um, Look, man, I think you about hit the nail right on the head. I think whew, let's get into this game and get into some score predictions then. So how you think it's going down?
Man, honestly, I see a 31-14 kind of game. We kind of gonna get our ass beat again.
Smoke show?
I
Yeah.
think we'll score a touchdown on opening possession, and then we won't score again until garbage time in the fourth. We'll put up 2 TDs. If Jesse Bates can't go, if Billy Bowman can't go, if Jalen Walker can't go, our defense is gonna look hampered, and especially without having Devon Diablo too. And we're gonna
Oof.
put JD Bertrand back in there. Yeah, it's gonna be a long day. It's gonna be a long day. We're gonna get I honestly we're gonna get outplayed and outcoached. So yeah. And I don't want it to sound negative, but it's just how I feel at the moment, man. How about
Yeah,
you?
I'm pretty much the same way. If you ask me how the Falcons gonna win, it's gonna have to be very much how Miami beat us last week. A lot of running the ball, a lot of ball possession, keeping it away from them, keep our defense off the field, keeping them in third and long situations where we still have a bit of an advantage, right? We still do have good penetrators on the D line. We still have, decent corner play, decent, not great, not even necessarily good, just solid. And that could help. Hunter Henry been getting a lot of love from Drake May. They got some speedsters in Demar Davis and Keishawn Butte. And it's just my biggest issue, if I'm being honest, is I think that they're going to run the ball against us, right? So I'm gonna go ahead, pick the Patriots. I will fight back a little. Patriots gonna win handy. I'm gonna say 27-13. I don't think we're scoring 2 touchdowns. We're running out of time. We got to go ahead and get up out of here. Sorry this show seems so negative, but blame the Falcons for that one. Also, follow us on the x.com, the AGLiner91. You know the drill by now. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, hit the little bell. We want to hear some real niggas uploading. Peace.